Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And Merry Christmas Eve. 'Twas the night before two pivotal games in the AFC playoffs. It is currently around almost 11 o'clock p.m., and in about an hour and 20 minutes, it will be Christmas. So, yeah, this Christmas Eve, we are here on a Tuesday today because there is a 1 o'clock and 4:30 Wednesday games to kick off the Week 17 slate tomorrow. But yeah, we are here picking games today. We have a pivotal schedule. We have playoff implications, one seed implications in the Christmas games. We have playoff implications on Thursday Night Football. We have plenty of playoff implications in the Cincinnati Bengals playing their biggest game of the season on Saturday. And we have a pivotal Sunday Night Football game in the NFC playoffs, as well as a Green Bay Minnesota matchup on Sunday. So we have a lot to talk about as we get into it. First, before I say anything, you guys enjoy, please like, subscribe. That would all be greatly appreciated. And we are getting right into it. This past week, I had a pretty bad record. My first bad week in a few weeks. It was 9-7. I mean, I guess it could be worse. Could be below 500. Can't really complain that badly. And that brings our record to 153-87, with being 11-5 on the locks and 5-11 on my upsets. But we're going to start off with potentially the biggest game of the weekend. It's the Kansas City Chiefs going to Acrisure Stadium to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Netflix. This one's obviously going to be very good. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're coming off a Saturday win this past Saturday versus the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud at their house. And they are now 14-1. And with the win in Pittsburgh, they're going to clinch the number one seed in the AFC. The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off a bad loss versus the Baltimore Ravens, where I picked them, but they suffered their first loss versus the Ravens in quite some time. Lamar Jackson outplayed him, had a pretty good game, threw a bad pick, but other than that, he was very good. No George Pickens was bad. No Dante Jackson was not good. No Deshaun Elliott was not good. They were pretty banged up, but the Ravens won the game. No excuses in that. This one's in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. Kansas City's due for a loss. They obviously have one loss on the season. It was the Buffalo game. As a Bengals fan, I'm really rooting for the Steelers here because Kansas City has to play a meaningful football versus Denver next weekend if they don't lock it up here. And I'm going to take the Steelers at home. Mike Tomlin, Christmas Day at home. It just feels like a game where I'm going to pick them. They know Baltimore's right on their tail, and that's a close division AFC North race. Those two teams. It'll be interesting to see how those two finish the year and who wins that division. But tomorrow, I'm picking the Steelers. I think the Chiefs suffer back-to-back Christmas Day losses. So yeah, give me the Steelers. And then we have another big AFC game. It is the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson taking on the Houston Texans. The Ravens, they're now 10-5, still second in the AFC North, but if I think they control their own destiny with strength of schedule to win the AFC North. Them sorry, I coughed. Them and the Steelers split the season series, and they went 1-1. And the Baltimore Ravens caught the one this past Saturday at home. They took care of business. Lamar Jackson played well, and they got it done. The Texans, they also played this last Saturday. Obviously, they went to Arrowhead Stadium. They lost. They had a bigger loss, honestly, during the game. Tank Dell, gruesome injury, caught a touchdown. Bad knee injury, dislocated kneecap, torn ACL, absolutely heartbreaking. He's done for the season. So they brought in Deontay Johnson off waivers, the former Baltimore Raven. Who knows who will play in this game? Either way, I like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to get it done. I like both AFC North teams to win the Christmas Day games. I think that both these teams know what's at stake with this division and a home playoff game, and both these teams are gonna fight more to get the whole playoff game and win the division. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I like Lamar Jackson in this game. I like Harbaugh. And I will say it probably however many episodes in a row I do this. I was right about the Texans this year. They're gonna finish 9-8 or 10-7. And I was right. CJ Stroud had a pretty bad sophomore slump. I mean, I was right about them this year. I think they're getting first round in the playoffs. No matter who they play, it's probably gonna be the Steelers, Ravens, or Chargers, right? Who gets that 5 seed and goes to the 4 seed Texans to play them? I like any three of those teams, to be honest with you. I'd maybe take them over the Chargers, but other than that, I don't know. Give me the Ravens. So yeah, Pittsburgh and Baltimore on Christmas Day. Not the greatest for me, but what are you gonna do? And then we go to our usual Thursday night football game. It is the Seattle Seahawks and the Chicago Bears. The Seahawks, they're playing for something. They're playing for a division title. Them and the Los Angeles Rams are neck and neck right now, and they face off next week against each other in a pivotal Week 18 game. But right now, the Rams are ahead. The Seahawks are coming off a loss versus Minnesota this past Sunday. Very good game. Darnold and Justin Jefferson for the win towards the end. Very good football game. Geno Smith throws the game losing interception. They're going to Chicago, where they haven't won since the Hail Mary in Washington. They haven't won since then. So, Thomas Brown, obviously, they're going to be hiring at a house. Thomas Brown is not going to be getting the head coaching job. I think we knew that though. It'll be interesting to see what Chicago can do in the head coaching cycle. But the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game. Chicago is a dead man walking at this point, and they are ready for the hiring cycle. They're ready to get a new head coach, and yeah, give me the Seahawks. They keep their season alive. They keep their division title hopes alive, and they beat the Bears. And then we start a Saturday triple header. We got a good week on hand, folks. We have a Saturday triple header on NFL Network. First game, 1 p.m. It is the Los Angeles Chargers and the New England Patriots. The Chargers winning this football game officially clinches them a playoff spot. Not like they're not going to make it anyway, but Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh, year one of that resume, are officially going to go to the playoffs with a win in this game. The Patriots, they stuck close with the Bills for a long time in that game. Josh Allen didn't play his best. They played it close. I said it last week's episode. I said there's always a close Patriots Bills game, so that one would be interesting, and it was. Buffalo ended up pulling it out, but Drake May didn't play half bad. Josh Allen was not very good. Patriots defense did a pretty good job against them, but Buffalo ended up pulling it out. Obviously, New England, they're ready to get to the offseason too. They have 3 wins. They're playing for a draft pick at this point. They know Drake May's the future. I assume they keep Gerard Mayo for one more year at least. I don't think they give up on him this quick. And I'm gonna take the Chargers. I think they get it done. I think they officially clinch a playoff spot in the AFC playoffs, and they will be going to January. So, yeah, they'll be playing January football, and they'll be playing Fortin football, and it'll be interesting to see Herbert back in the playoffs. Can he win his first playoff game? We'll see. And then we reach do or die, the biggest game in the season for the Bengals and the Broncos together. Two AFC wildcard contenders duking it out. And it's crazy to even say we're here at this point after what I've been through this season as a Bengals fan. We have a Saturday game. We have a big game in the AFC wildcard race. It is the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Broncos, they're coming off a Thursday night loss versus the Chargers, which was big for me, and I was excited about it. But they didn't play half bad, but Herbert outdueled them in the end, and the Chargers got it done. And the Bengals, they're coming off a win versus the Browns where they could have done more. They could have done more to win the game, but Burrow did enough. Burrow made a couple Houdini plays. He was absolutely insane out there. The Burrow to Chase garbage time touchdown to officially put the game away. And Burrow was surgical. Burrow was absolutely amazing. And nothing short of spectacular from him, as usual. But it's the best team you've played, or the best team, not the best team you've played, but the best team that you have a chance to beat now. And let's see if they can do it. This game's in Paycor Stadium, national television, or not national because it's NFL Network, but a singular game slot, a slot in itself. And I'm taking Joe Burrow at home. I'm a Bengals fan. You think I'm not taking Joe Burrow at home? Obviously, whoa, did not mean to do that. Obviously, it's gonna be tough to get in the playoffs. It's gonna be tough. Obviously, you have to win this game. You have to win this game first. And you have to root like hell for the New York Giants to beat the Indianapolis Colts and the Cleveland Browns to beat the Miami Dolphins. With a win, the Bengals can't be eliminated this weekend, and that's really what we root for, right? To play more meaningful football. And as long as they win, The game in Acrisure Stadium against Pittsburgh next weekend, Week 18, is a big football game. As long as they win, keep winning football games, keep stacking these games, and root like hell for the Giants and Browns on Sunday. You hear me? WHODEY. Go Bengals. And then the third game of the triple header, it is the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. The Cardinals were eliminated from playoff contention with the loss to the Carolina Panthers this past Sunday, and that officially solved the Cardinals' season. They're 7-8. They are eliminated. As for the Rams, though, this one's in SoFi Stadium, home game, primetime Saturday night for the Rams. They're fighting for a division title as for the Seahawks. And Week 18 will be a big game. It is Seahawks versus Rams next weekend, and that'll be fun to watch because there's playoff implications in that one. Potentially the Sunday Night Football game, depending on what happens with Detroit and Minnesota this weekend. It'll it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm taking the Rams here. They have more to play for. I trust Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay at home on prime time in a big game like this. I think the Cardinals will keep it close. They have a feisty offense. Marvin Harrison, obviously, finding a stride. He's going to be a star one day. Kyler Murray can play good quarterback, but I trust Stafford and McVay in this game at home more with a season potentially on the line. But yeah, give me the Rams. And then we go to the Sunday games. Starting off is a big one for me, at least, and a big one for all Bengals fans worldwide and all Dolphins fans worldwide. And I guess considering all Broncos fans worldwide, it is the Indianapolis Colts and the New York Giants. The Colts, they're coming off a win where they almost blew it versus the Tennessee Titans, but they got it done. Jonathan Taylor ran for over 200 yards. He was absolutely insane, and they got the win. But Tennessee did sneak up towards the end, and they almost made it a football game. They came within 8 points. They came within one score. And man, I really wish they pulled it off because that would have been big, big, big. And obviously, that would have been good for us. But the Giants, I have zero confidence in them, to be honest with you. They're the worst team in the league, clearly. They're probably going to end up with 2 wins to get the number one overall pick. But I'm going to root like hell for the Giants, really. I'm going to pick the Colts. Not really much to say about it. I think, obviously, they're the better team. Obviously, they're probably going to win this game. Obviously, the Giants are probably tanking. Obviously, Brian Daboll knows he's probably going to be back for another year, and they're tanking. But, man, Brian Daboll, you can hear me. Please win this game. Please, please. I'm going to pick the Colts, but go Giants, man. Go Giants. I'm really rooting for them. And then we go to an AFC East matchup. It is the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. The Jets, they have 2 games left on the season. Obviously, the season was a big, big flop. Potentially Aaron Rodgers' last ride, his last 2 football games. Potentially, who knows, as he decided to hang up the cleats this offseason. He looked pretty cooked this season, to be honest with you. He looked pretty washed. He still made some good throws, still had some good games, don't get me wrong. He can still be a serviceable quarterback in this league, but and he was dealing with injury. He was dealing with an injury all year long, so there is a little bit of a pass that you can give him, but he did not look good. The Buffalo Bills, if they see the Pittsburgh Steelers win on Wednesday, there's absolutely zero chance they are dropping this game. Give me the Buffalo Bills at home versus the New York Jets. When they see the Pittsburgh Steelers win that football game, I did not mean to do that color. When they see the Pittsburgh Steelers win that football game against the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas, it is all systems go. We have a chance at the number one seed if Denver can pull it off next week and Buffalo can beat New England in week 18. And yeah, if this scenario happens, the number one seed stays alive for the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, Buffalo gets it done. And you never know. Could be Aaron Rodgers' last few games here, so let's take it all in and let's savor what we have. Well, obviously one of the greatest to ever put on the helmet, and yeah. Next up, we have a rematch of a matchup that happened not 2 weeks ago, but a few weeks ago. where the Jacksonville Jaguars upset the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, where Mac Jones got the job done in a low scoring 10-6 game, I think it was, but it's a rematch. Nobody really cares about this game, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, both these teams are pretty bad this year. Uh, Big flop for both these teams this year. Tennessee, Will Levis going to the bench. Who knows if he returns to the team next year? Do they look for a new quarterback? Brian Callahan's probably safe for another year. I think they liked what they have in him, but who knows? Maybe he gets axed on Black Monday. Who knows? But Tennessee, big flop of the year. I expected more out of Tennessee, to be honest. I was pretty wrong about them. I thought the free agent acquisitions they brought in would have done a little bit more to make the team a little bit better. I thought they would have been 7-10, 8-9. I thought they would have been competitive in some of these games, but they weren't. I was wrong. But they're going to Duval County, Jacksonville, who lost a game versus the Raiders this past weekend, this past Sunday, where Aiden O'Connell ripped them apart and Brock Bowers had a really, really good game. I'm going to take the Titans. I think Brian Callahan is the more feisty head coach in this game. And I just see these two teams splitting on the season. I see Mason Rudolph played a pretty good game last week. He's a starter again in this game. And yeah, I think the Titans get it done. And then we have one of the oldest rivalries in the books. It is classic. It is Dallas versus Philadelphia in Lincoln Financial Field. Matchup number 2 on the season for these teams. The Cowboys, they're competitive. Cooper Rush played a very, very good game on Sunday Night Football, and they upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They played well. They're 7-8 now. If the Bengals didn't beat them on Monday Night Football, I mean, could we be talking about this Cowboys team as a team that could potentially sneak into the playoffs? Who knows? They play the Commanders next weekend, I believe. I mean, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting conversation. It would. It'd be an interesting conversation. But they are eliminated. They're 7-8. They're going to Philadelphia, who just lost an absolute thriller. They lost their first game in months versus the Washington Commanders. And technically, the NFC East is not locked up yet, but it will be if Philadelphia can pull this off and win. I believe Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol. Obviously, we still have how many days? 5 days until Sunday. So there's a lot of time that can change that. And if Jalen Hurts can go. Kenny Pickett actually played pretty good in Jalen Hurts' injury. He played well. He threw a touchdown to A.J. Brown. Obviously, Saquon Barkley's still on the team. So even if Kenny Pickett suits up for this game, I'm picking the Eagles. I think they get it done, and I think they are NFC East champions. And I believe the stat is accurate. We haven't seen an NFC East repeat champion in this is like 17, 18 years. There hasn't been a repeat champion. Dallas obviously won it last year, and it will be Philadelphia if they complete this game. But the Commanders still have an outside chance. But I think Philadelphia gets it done right here, and they clinch the NFC East. So yeah, give me the Eagles. Next up, it is another game that absolutely nobody cares about. It is the Las Vegas Raiders at New Orleans Saints. This game's pretty boring. We're going to cherish every single moment we have in this NFL season, though. We only have 32 regular season games left. Obviously, 2 weeks left, 32 games. Only one more pick'em episode after this. Only one more regular season. I'll do playoff picks on this channel. Obviously, stay tuned for that. That'll be interesting to fill out my bracket and my wildcard weekend picks. But yeah, we gotta cherish every single game we have left. It is the Raiders and the Saints. The Raiders, they're coming off a win versus the Jaguars in a game where AOC played pretty well. Obviously, Bowers had an amazing game. I mean, the defense played pretty well. They got it done. Antonio Pierce went off in his presser saying they would never tank. And that was a big hit to the Raiders. I believe they went to like the 6th or 7th overall pick after getting that win, which is pretty rough. But they're going to New Orleans to take on the Saints, where they got shut out just last night, yesterday, against the Green Bay Packers, where Spencer Rattler looked absolutely horrid. And I don't even think they touched the red zone once. It was a pretty boring game to watch. Honestly, probably the worst game I've watched all season. It might have been the worst game I've watched all season, but it was one of them. But they got shut out. The first shutout of the 2024 NFL season, shockingly enough. I mean, I don't really know who wins this game, to be honest with you. I think if Alvin Kamara plays, if Alvin Kamara suits up, I'm taking the Saints. He wants that first 1,000 yard season in his career. I think he wants to suit up and he wants to get it done. If Alvin Kamara plays, I'm taking the New Orleans Saints. If he doesn't, I'm taking the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Brock Bowers and AOC do enough to get it done. So for now, I'm taking the Raiders. I don't think Kamara's healthy enough to go, probably. And if he doesn't, I'm taking the Raiders. But if Kamara gets cleared and he plays, I'm taking the Saints. And then we have the last 1 p.m. game. It is the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Panthers, they're coming off a win against the Cardinals this past Sunday, where they scored 33 points, I believe, and they won an overtime thriller. Chuba Hubbard walked it off for the win. The Buccaneers are coming off a loss, and now they need to win this division. The Atlanta Falcons are now up in this division with the loss on Sunday night, and Tampa Bay needs to keep winning. It is a Baker Mayfield versus Michael Penix race for the NFC South, and I think they rebound. I think they get it done, and I think they get a season sweep of the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield's going to do enough to win this game, and they see a tough matchup going to Landover, Maryland for the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. And for a rookie quarterback starting his second game, that's going to be a tough matchup to win. And the Buccaneers are going to see that, and the Buccaneers are going to be hungry to win this game, and they're going to get it done. So give me the Buccaneers. And then we have another big game for me, praying to God the Dolphins lose. It is the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. The Dolphins, they're coming off a win on Sunday versus the San Francisco 49ers, where Brock Purdy was not very good. He threw a game losing interception, a bad interception that not many people are talking about. But man, the Niners, really big disappointment. I know all the injuries. I know the McCaffrey injury. I know the Ayuk injury. I know the Javon Hargrave injury. I know the Dre Greenlaw injury. The Lenore missed a few games, correct. I mean, Fred Warner's been injured all year, playing through painkillers. I get it. But nonetheless, a disappointing season for them. But it's the Dolphins and Browns. The Browns are again probably going to start DTR. Was banged up in the game versus the Bengals last week, but he's probably going to go again and he's probably going to start. If not, it's probably going to be Bailey Zappi. James Winston's still banged up. Who knows? The Dolphins are probably going to win this game. They still have an uphill battle to make the playoffs, just like the Bengals. They need the Colts to lose a game, I believe. And yeah, but I think they're going to get it done here. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Browns are going to pull it off in Cleveland. I really hope they do, but I don't think they are. So give me the Dolphins. And then we have potentially the biggest game of the weekend right here, 425 on Fox, national television game. It is the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Two teams in the almighty NFC North this season. Three powerhouses in the North this season. Two wildcard teams, most likely this year, unless Minnesota sneaks from behind and steals the division from Detroit. But Green Bay will be going on the road to either LA or Atlanta in the wild card round. So that will be interesting to see. But it's the Packers and the Vikings. Good old Packers Vikings. Green Bay. They're coming off a blowout, a shutout on Monday Night Football. A pretty boring game. Jordan Love was good. Didn't even play the whole game because Malik Willis took over at the end. Josh Jacobs was elite. Packers win. Minnesota's coming off a pretty close game in Lumen Field in Seattle, but they pulled it off. Darnold to Jefferson looking like absolute money this season. So it'll be interesting to see what Minnesota opts to do with Darnold and obviously McCarthy waiting in the docket. So it'll be interesting. But Darnold's been great. This one's tough because Minnesota won the game earlier this season. It was a very good game in week 4. Minnesota won it in Green Bay. This one is in US Bank Stadium. If Minnesota wins this game and Detroit wins on Monday Night Football, next week will be absolute cinema. Clearly will be the Sunday Night Football game next weekend. If it's for, it will be for the number one seed in the NFC and for the NFC North. I mean, come on. Obviously, that'll be Sunday Night Football. Both these teams win, but I think Green Bay's gonna spoil that party. Give me the Green Bay Packers to get it done. This team is good. This team is just as good as the Vikings in my eyes. Obviously, three elite teams from the NFC North this season: Lions, Vikings, Packers. Those three teams are all great. I think most likely Minnesota will still be the five, depending on what happens with Detroit next week. Well, I guess if Detroit locks up the one, Detroit will lock up the one seed on Monday Night Football if they beat San Francisco and Minnesota loses, I believe. But that would have to would Philly have to lose in that scenario? I'm not exactly sure, but I think Green Bay gets done here, and I think both these teams are on the same exact tier. But I think Jordan Love outduels Sam Darnold. And then we have Sunday Night Football. It's a big football game. It's a big football game indeed. It is Michael Penix Jr. and the Atlanta Falcons versus Jane Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Two first round quarterbacks going at it with playoffs on the line in week 17 on Sunday Night Football in the cold in Maryland. This is going to be fun. The Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix Jr. gets a win in his first career start. Obviously, didn't do much because the Giants, and the defense absolutely feasted, but he got a win, and the Falcons are still fighting for playoff hopes, even after the losing streak they had. They're going to Washington with a win. They officially are going to punch their ticket to the NFL playoffs with a win here. Jane Daniels, 5 touchdowns versus the Eagles this past Sunday. He had the 2 turnovers early, and after that, he was locked in, to say the least, but he got it done. And this will be a fun game, I think. This will be a fun game between two rookie quarterbacks, first round quarterbacks. Dan Quinn with a chance to clinch the playoffs in his first year as a as a Commanders head coach versus his former team. It's tough to bet against Washington in this game, man. It's tough, tough, tough. But I'm pulling with Michael Penix. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons to pull off an upset and stay ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC South going into Week 18. And this is where people start on the Michael Penix train. If Michael Penix wins 3 straight games and wins the NFC South and hosts the playoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the city of Atlanta is already crowning him the king of that city. They're crowning him mayor. If he pulls the Falcons into the playoffs to host a playoff game instead of losing streak they had with Kirk Cousins, man, that would be a legendary story to tell. That'd be one of the biggest storylines of the season. And this is the one where I think he does it. I think the Falcons pull off an upset. And then on Monday Night Football, it is the NFC Championship rematch, which is pretty sad because nobody really cares about it because the 49ers are eliminated from the playoffs and have had a down year. It is the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. The Lions are coming off a win versus Chicago this past Sunday, where they absolutely killed them. They pulled off a fake dive, like a stumble rooski, fumble rooski, bundle rooski. They pulled off some crazy plays. Ben Johnson was in his absolute Duffy. They got it done. The 49ers, they're just a mess right now. They're a dumpster fire, obviously, now. And they're ready to get to the offseason. Just a burnt year for the Niners with all the injuries, and a year where they're coming off as NFC champions and losing the Super Bowl. But the Detroit Lions are going to get this done. And I think, would that clinch the number one seed in the NFC? Potentially. It would potentially clinch the number one seed in the NFC if they got it done. Either way, I don't even care. They're going to get it done, and they're going to win this game in the NFC Championship rematch. And my lock of the week is going to be the Buffalo over New York Jets. And my upset is going to be Atlanta over Washington. So, yes, I put a bull italic in the middle. So, yeah, those are the week 17 game picks. Only one more episode to go. We're going to get to the power rankings just 1 second. But to recap: Steelers, Ravens, Seahawks, Chargers, Bengals, Rams, Colts, Bills, Titans, Eagles, Raiders, Buccaneers, Dolphins, Packers, Falcons, and Lions. Let's get into the power rankings right now. And here are the Week 17 power rankings. Only one left to go, which is absolutely crazy to say. But top three stays the same as last week. Chiefs, Bills, Lions, Minnesota going to the top four with a big win over Seattle. Eagles lose, they go to number five, followed by Green Bay, Baltimore, Pittsburgh back to back. Commanders back into the top 10 for the first time in a few weeks. Chargers go up five with a big win over Denver. Rams, Broncos, Seahawks, Texans at number 14. Indianapolis only one spot behind them at 15. Jonathan Taylor with a coming out performance. Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, three AFC wildcard contenders back to back to back. Cardinals, Bucks, Falcons back to back to back. Cowboys and Niners, two teams that were eliminated at the same time on Sunday, back to back. They swap spots. Carolina goes up five with a big win over Arizona. Honestly, more about these teams dropping than Carolina rising, but that's where they're placed. But followed by Chicago, New Orleans with a terrible performance goes down two spots. Jets, Browns, Titans, Raiders, Jaguars, then the Patriots, and the number 32 is clearly the New York Giants. So yeah, those are the Week 17 game picks and power rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, be greatly appreciated. And it's sad, man, it's sad. We only have one more of these episodes to go. This season's been a wild ride. I've appreciated all the support I've got on these episodes. I got a lot of views in this episode, and it's been on these kind of videos, these picks and power rankings videos, and it's been nice to say. But I mean, I'll talk more about like the amount of support I've been getting on these episodes next weekend. It's been a fun ride, man. It's been a fun ride. We have a playoff pick'em video, obviously, where I'm doing my bracket. But yeah, cherish every moment in the NFL season because it goes by very, very quickly. We're already in December. We're about to be in January in a few days. Christmas is tomorrow for crying out loud. So yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see y'all next week for picks. Who knows if I make a video I might make a video in the middle, maybe before the Bengals game. I don't know. I don't know. But have a nice Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's literally Christmas in 45 minutes, but Merry Christmas. Have a good night.